Hi, e-leapers. This is your delightful librarian, Adriana. And today we're not going to start on the library's website. We're going to actually start with team memo number 2 and just take a look at the guidelines here so that we've got a scope of where we want to search and have a sense of what our need is. So, team memo 2, I like to check out what the purpose of this memo is for kind of a quick guide. So, this is what we are working on. Primarily, um, as far as research goes, and stuff that doesn't have to be just born inside of your brain, which is the reflection piece. So, this piece, the explanation of the history behind the waste problem that your team identified, and explanations of consumption waste relationship. Those are the things that we're going to explore today using the databases and Google Scholar. So, if you have any questions about what's kind of, what we're looking for here, please feel free to reach out. I'm totally happy to brainstorm with y'all and help you to reflect on your research process and figure out what's working for you, what isn't, where you're at, where your gaps are, that kind of thing. So let's take a look at the history behind the waste problem and explanations that explain the consumption waste relationship. So in Google Scholar, I'm going to begin my searches here. Um, Now, I hope y'all remember that if you haven't synced up your Google Scholar to the library's holdings, let's do that together right now. So I click that 3-bar icon in the upper left corner. I'll click Settings, then Library Links in this left-hand margin. I'm going to type University of Utah, and I'll select our catalog here, and I'll also leave Open World Cat. Now we're synced up. So I'm interested in, let's see, e-waste consumption and like the history of the problem of e-waste that we're studying. So let's imagine that we're studying e-waste and consumption. We'll do a very simple search here. And let's do and United States. Or we can be more focused. We could try Utah. I think starting broad is probably an okay place to be. So scrolling through here, I always like to borrow my searches from Google Scholar and replicate those in Smith databases. So we'll do that in just a moment. But let's look through here and see what we can do to kind of narrow our results. So we've got about 17,000 results up at the top here. That's a lot. I hope you're not willing to look at 17,000 results unless you're looking for a good movie to watch. And then by all means. Okay, so I'm going to select a custom date range. Let's see, history of e-waste. I think that if I were to look at stuff going back to like 1980, that might be just fine. Let's try that. Didn't really reduce our results too much. So this might be too comprehensive of a picture. However, check out this result here, the evolution of consumer electronic waste in the United States. That is right on the nose. So let's imagine that we'll just do this. We'll click on the title. Now we're going to imagine, this is the very best article for my topic. I've read through the abstract. I've saved the PDF. I've looked through the old bibliography. Let's do that. Let's do that really quickly. So I want you to remember that checking out the bibliography is a great place for mining some new sources of information. So, as you know, authors put together at the end of their papers a list of all of the materials that they used to create this new piece of knowledge. Dang, that is a lengthy bibliography. Good grief. And that's really great. All of these we can potentially pursue. Look how cool, there's even a Google Scholar link. The other thing that I think is really interesting using Google Scholar, and I've talked about this, I think, in the previous video, but just a little reminder, is to check the other side of the bibliography spectrum, I guess. That's what we're going to call it. I just pointed at my computer. The other side of the bibliography spectrum, or timeline, how about that? Where we've looked at the sources that were used to create this particular article. Google Scholar will show us who has cited this article since it was published. And these are potentially useful, resources here. So, useful. Quick reminder, the links off to the right side, these come from the university's library systems. So if this link doesn't take you to the full text, this one will. Never pay for any research materials. Let the library do that for you. Okay, so I'm going to take this same search. I'm just going to copy and paste it. I'm going to take it to the library's website. So there are a couple of ways that we can go about searching for this type of information on the library's website. We can use the catalog here, or we can use the databases down here. So I'm going to show you what it looks like in each of those different avenues. And then you can see like why you might want to use Google Scholar, the library catalog, and the databases all in combination with each other. So remember that you want to select Use Search Catalog before you hit the magnifying glass button. And then we will get there. Wow, that's a big difference, y'all. We went from 17,000 results to 123 results. And it's a good thing to remember that the smaller this results number is, the better, because it's more precise, potentially, or there are just very few pieces of literature written about your topic. But chances are good that if you've got a small-ish number of results, 100, 150, less than that even, that you've done a really good search statement, aka whatever you just typed into your search box. Okay, so the library catalog interacts with some of our databases, so you will find not just books, but also, well, here's another book, but also electronic articles. However, the catalog, which is what we're looking at right here, interacts with about maybe like 10 to 15 of our 400 or so databases. And you can see which ones by going to location over here in the right-hand menu, to get a sense of where this information is originating from before it lands in the catalog. So all of these locations are actually databases. The only physical location is the Marriott Library at the bottom of the page here. So yeah, that means that while we do have access to some electronic sources of information through the library catalog, we don't have access to all of the articles. Let's see, I'm scrolling through here and I'm seeing a bunch of full text under each title. Full text. Many of these will even identify for you if they are peer-reviewed. I want to see if we get anything that is not full text. Dang, there's a lot of full text available. Every once in a while, we will get a no full text available. It won't say no full text. Instead, it will just say a find it button, or it will have a find it button, I mean. But we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. This is what it looks like, though. Doing research, in our library catalog. So just like in Google Scholar, you can use this little refinements menu to restrict to different types of resources, um, different subjects. Here's a creation date or publication date range. So maybe tighten that up a little bit. We'll go from 123 results. Let's see what happens if I do 2017 to 2022. We went down to, check it out, 51 results. So this is kind of nice. It's a little bit more precise. That was an accidental rhyme. And you're welcome. All right, let's move on to the databases. That's what I was going to say. I'm going to open a new tab just to help y'all remember how to get there. So we'll go to the lib.utah.edu, and here is that great big search box that it's tempting to use, but this time we're going to skip over it and we're going to land on this gentle gray databases button. And this should look familiar because of our last video. This is the portal to all of the databases. So super quick, what's the word I'm looking for here? Quick reminder. Okay, we'll go with that, with how this stuff is laid out. So you can look for stuff by title, and we will do a little bit of that. By subject, this is pretty self-explanatory. Database by type is a little bit weird, but it just means type of information. So you can think of that as like, what are the containers for information? So lots of good stuff in here, including statistical data. Pretty fascinating. I'm going to introduce you all to, let's take a look at a database called Greener, and I think we actually looked at this briefly last time. So to get to Greener, I've clicked on G. Wow, there are a lot of G databases. Who knew? We're getting there, y'all. Okay, there we go. So we've got some good options here. Greener is a great database. Greenfile is pretty good too. I recommend both, actually. So we'll just explore one of those right now. Remember that if you're unsure which database to choose when you're looking at that portal, and you're like, do I pick one of these 400 plus databases at random? Probably not. I think one of the best ways to figure out which database might meet your needs is just to read these little blurbs right below the title of each database. I know it seems like an extra step, but it's actually going to save you a lot of time if you're looking in those containers of information, i.e. databases, that have not just the subjects that you're looking for, but the types of information as well. So, for example, scholarly peer-reviewed articles. Okie dokie. So always look for the search box. I'll do the exact same search that I did before on Google Scholar. We'll see what happens. All right, so at the top of the page here, it shows me all of these different types of resources. I can look just at academic journals. I'm going to click on that. There are 179 titles associated with that type of material. News might also be useful, though it's worth noting it is not considered a scholarly source of information. It's considered a popular source. Not as in it's everybody's favorite, just as in written for a general audience rather than an audience with specific academic backgrounds. So we've got academic journals, we've got case studies. Those are very similar. It's just a type of article, conference papers, magazines, news, and then you know what references are. So we can filter our results here. Like I mentioned last time, if you're ever lost in a new database, look to your left and your right. into those margins and see if there's a kind of menu that will allow you to either increase your results if you're not getting quite enough, or make them more specific if you're getting a little too many, or a few too many, I should say. So let's see. We can limit by publication date. We can look at all of this different stuff here. This is really cool where it will only look at peer-reviewed stuff. I would double check with Dr. V if peer review is the goal for these memos, or if merely, not merely, but if academic / scholarly articles that are not peer reviewed, if those are a-okay too. So worth checking. That was a whole lot of preamble, y'all. I'm going to click on this just to show you what one of these looks like. And there it is. It's beautiful. It shows us it highlights our keywords in the context here for kind of a quick browse. Dang, this is really pretty great. So it's not a PDF, but it is the full text. Like I say, always check out these references at the end of every article and see if there are any titles that come up for you as potentially useful that you could pursue. If you do find one, let me know and I'll help you find it. Actually, let's maybe do a quick example of how that might work. So let's pretend that I'm looking for something specific here. Okay, I see some proceedings. I want to find a citation for a journal article. I've got a lot of types of sources here. Can y'all tell when we look through these individual citations what type of information we are looking at? Here's one. I am a silly goose. So this right here is a citation for a journal article. Here's how I can tell. If I look at the end of the citation, I've got page numbers. I've also got volume and issue numbers. So that's here. And I've got a year of publication. Right before that, I've got the title of the publication as well. Now, it's not giving me an article title, which is a little strange, but that I would actually want the journal title itself. We don't even need an article title if we've got page numbers. So this thing here, I would just take like so. Let's see if we can find some stuff out about this journal. Let's make sure we've got the title correct for starters. Okay. So it looks like, what is it? Maybe it's this one? I want to see if we can find the title of this publication. Environmental management. I want to say that is not the whole title. All right. Well, this one's kind of a bummer of a search. So let's abandon it for something a little more useful. I would do some behind the scenes work for you in a scenario like that so that you don't have to chase it down. But I do want to show you how to find an article here. Gosh, it's hard to talk and read through this at the same time. Anyway, we'll get there, y'all. We'll get there. Lots of books. Interesting. Here we go. Water resources. So this is an interesting bibliography because we're not getting article titles in those citations that are for journal articles. Like, I know, based on the format here, where we've got, we've got authors, lots and lots of authors, followed by the journal title. because water resources would be kind of too ambiguous for an article title. We've got year of publication, volume number 38, and then page numbers. So let's see about water resources. So here's what I would do. I'm going to put this up at the top of my page so I don't lose my citation. And this is a good little experiment. So we're going to find this article, I hope. Let's see how it goes. So I'm going to open yet another tab, or you could open a whole new window if you feel like it. I didn't want that to happen. That's okay. We'll go to the library's website, and from here, I am going to type in, I think it was called water resources, and I want to do a catalog search. So I know that I'm looking for a specific type of publication. So I've clicked on, maybe I did this too quickly, but I knew it was going to give me a bazillion results because that's a really crappy journal title. But check it out. Here it is, right there, the journal title. Top of the list. I was going to go into our advanced search, which is over here, and you can select a material type. So if I'm looking just for a journal title, I would select journals rather than article title. And there we go. Now let's look at, I'm going to close this empty tab up. Okay, here's our citation, y'all. So we want volume 2004, or volume 38 from the year 2004. Same diff. Okay. Let's see. Uh-oh. This will do it. All right. I guess I should have explained. So I pulled up the record for this particular journal. If I click online access, it's going to shoot me down to the middle of the page here to this little view it box. Under view it, you're going to find generally databases that are linked out in blue if it is available in full text. So here we go. We want to look at, which volume was it, y'all? I'm going to close this one because we don't need this tab any longer. I think it was 2004. There we go. Volume 38. So well, that's weird. We know it's 2004. Sometimes this happens. We got page numbers though, 3558. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so it's not that particular volume. November. Interesting. We want volume 38. We do know that. So I'm trying to pick a year that looks like it might give us volume 38. 2013 is too recent. It's a little bit of a process of negotiation, isn't it, y'all? Okay, volume 38. Let's see what happens when I look at December. So we want 3500s. Wow. We might not get there, y'all. We might not. 3558, 3568. Well, let's see. I don't see these page numbers. What a huge bummer. All right, so this is one of those scenarios where I would email my librarian and then you can let me deal with the problem because we are just not getting access to those. Maybe we should try a different year. All right, well, it's a bust. Sometimes it goes like that. I'm so sorry. All right, well, let's move on. That was a huge, huge bummer. But a good object lesson, weirdly, I'm going to put a silver lining on this. If that happens to you when you're by yourself and not in front of the video tutorial, just email me at adriana.parker@utah.edu and I will help you out. Or you can contact me via Canvas. Okay. So we tried this. Oh yeah, we were looking at the databases. All right. So some databases are a bummer. Sometimes, not always. We were looking at Greener. All right. There we are. There is Greener. And, oops, I do that search that we did earlier where it was e-waste, and let's try something a little different. So I could write consumption or I could write consumer. If I put an asterisk at the end of any beginning of a word to replace the word endings, it will bring up multiple word endings. So let's throw some stuff in here. The reasons that I'm putting quotation marks around United States is to search for that exact phrase. So here we go, here we go. Not bad. All right. So this is a pretty solid database. Every once in a while you're going to find abstracts only. If that happens, don't worry about it. Send me an email and I will help you out. Send me an email with as much information as you can provide. Okay. All right. Databases. I'm going back there. Let's look at... Oh, here's one that I wanted to introduce you to. Academic Search Ultimate. This is kind of a big, broad-based database in the sense that it includes stuff from all of the different disciplines that you can imagine, and peer-reviewed stuff, not peer-reviewed stuff. It's the whole kit and caboodle. All right, so I've done a search here. We've got a pretty solid number of results, 56. This number right here should be like your, what's the word? Threshold. Like, I don't want to look at more than 100 titles, for example, or 56 titles. But they should be very relevant to your research needs. So, all right, I've done a search here. I can use this refinements menu, of course. We are looking for, hey, it's that same article from earlier, an evolution of or the history of a particular type of waste in a particular location. So yeah, here's one of those find it buttons. This is what I wanted to teach you. Haha. Okay, so this will happen eventually, especially like those times when you're maybe feeling like exhausted by the research process. Then it always kind of does something like this. You're like, okay, great. I'm looking through this list of results, and we're going to pretend that this article here, let's say we read the title, we're like, oh, this is very promising. So we click on it, and we read the abstract, and oh, it's even more promising than I expected. I want to read this article. So then I go to view it, and there are no full text options available through this database. However, because I'm hanging out here, you can kind of see what's happening. There's a little find it button. If you click view it, it will actually take you to the same place. But this will allow us to search other databases, or that button will search other databases for you to find the full text because it wasn't in that specific Academic Search Ultimate database we were just in. So again, if full text is available, it'll shoot you down to the view it area. And then if there is a database that does have the full text. It'll be highlighted in blue. You click on that and it will get you to your PDF. Okay. So, I think that's about it. Thank you for coming along on this meandering kind of journey today. If you have any questions, if you get lost, if you're just really frustrated with your research process, please reach out to me. You can reach me. I'm going to type in my email address here. You can reach me at adriana.parker@utah.edu any old time, and I am happy to help. Thanks for your patience, your attention, and yeah, go you. I'll talk to you soon.